First of all, I'm not like a wild guy. I studied math in college, and I like do my taxes on time, and I try to eat like a balanced, healthy breakfast every day. But I have been I've been doing shows like touring around the world now for, I don't know, like since 2007 or something. So stuff happens. So I can give you a couple stories. Nothing is like, you know, like Don King doesn't show up in any of these stories, and like everyone's clothes typically remain on in the stories. But I'll give you some stories. First one, I was doing a project called Mostly Robot, which is Native Instruments, the software company. They sort of like diddied like a Making the Band situation where it was like a nerdy boy band where it's just like the 5 nerdiest Native Instruments artists all in one group. And we were called Mostly Robot. And it was me, Jeremy Ellis, the amazing pad drummer, Tim Exile, the like machine genius, Mr. Jimmy on keys, and then Jamie Liddell, you know, just an incredible artist, singer, songwriter, producer. And we only did like 4 shows. They were big festivals. So for the first show, it was Sonar Festival in Barcelona. And so Native, they like flew us out to Spain. And we were rehearsing in like a villa in Spain for like a week, practicing in a squash court on the property. And so this was like catered. It was like 2 old women from Spain, and they made like crazy gazpacho. And I love gazpacho. So basically like every meal I was eating gazpacho, and they would have like giant jugs of it. So I'd wake up first thing in the morning, I'd have like 3 bowls of gazpacho. Then for lunch, I'd have gazpacho. And really for like a week, I probably had like 10 bowls of gazpacho a day for a week. But like I sort of started to feel kind of sluggish as it was going. At the end of this stay, I was like, hey, can you like tell me the recipe for the gazpacho? And they're like, yeah, it's like tomatoes and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and vodka. And so basically, like, I don't know if I liked the gazpacho so much because it was like alcoholic. I was definitely sluggish because I was alcoholic, but I was basically like just drinking vodka all day, every day, without realizing it, because it was just part of this gazpacho, which was like, I couldn't believe how amazing this gazpacho tastes, but it was just really because I was getting drunk all day. We put together like I think a dope, like hour and a half set. We made original music. We did like recreations of classic songs. Like we did our own version of like Rocket. We had like parts where each of us would do our routines and stuff. Like Tim Exile, he did Window Licker by Aphex Twin live, like where he did all the glitches live. So it was really like, it was like probably the most fun I've ever had in my life. And we had dope songs, and just like, yeah, it's sort of, after a certain point, it didn't continue just because, one, it's crazy to coordinate 5 artist schedules, plus there was a visual team, Fadfunderai, for Berlin, and they're crazy. And then it's like to buy everyone's plane tickets, to buy everyone's like flights. It's a hard project to sort of sustain, unless it was like funded by a company. It's like you need 5. It was the 5 of us in the group, but then it was also like a whole visual team that would travel and like I think developed specifically for the show, where all of our MIDI gear would send information out to the visuals, and Fadfunderai, they created like a whole like way of the music triggering the visuals live. So it was really like a full crazy, like, I think it felt like, to me it felt innovative. Like, I'm not a nerd on it, but they seemed to think like, oh, like we had to try to do this like new stuff where it was really like an interactive AV multimedia experience. So yeah, it was like the most fun I ever had. But I think everyone had fun, so I'm putting it out into the universe now. Mostly Robot reunion tour. We'll do 4 more shows and then not do anything for another like 4 years.
You know, one of the original names I think we had was like Angels with Dirty Faces. We had all these different names, and Hank was just like, nah, you're the young black teenagers. And we were like, what? And your first record's gonna be Proud to Be Black was our first song.
But Big was one of the front runners in the rap game. You know, being like one of the top MCs of his time to come out. And I adored him because I adored his personality. I thought he was real cool, funny, humble.
This was right when I joined Public Enemy, so I'm shook. They didn't find anything. Talking to Chuck, I was like, Chuck, man, did you hear there's a bomb threat in the hotel? He's like, oh, that's nothing, Lord. Remember Flavor in '87, there was a bomb on the stage? Flavor's like, yeah, boy, there's a bomb on it. That was crazy, G.
I started with MPC and a computer, so I would just like kind of like make beats on the MPC from the records and shit. And then I got into Ableton, which is just super dope software. It's real powerful and shit. And the Machine,